Mulholland Drive is a surrealist film directed by David Lynch that primarily employs the usage of non-linear editing and storytelling. It uses the idea of dreams showing us a, at first glance, nonsensical version of reality where as we get closer to consciousness, as we continue to wake, the pathway to reality, in this case, the blue box that appears throughout the film alongside the key, becomes more and more abundant, more and more clear. To understand the method of dream sequence storytelling in the film, we have to discuss the characters, with their connections and parallels to the waking world. We have Betty Elms, Diane Selwyn's dream version of herself, an aspiring actress who, when invited to live in her Aunt Ruth's apartment, moves there with the intent of trying out for movie roles. Betty Elms meets this mysterious woman who gives the name Rita, who is a parallel to Camilla Rhodes, Diane's ex-lover. Gradually, as the film continues, Betty and Rita hold this great adventure where they try to regain Rita's memory. As Rita regains her memory, Betty begins to see more and more of this box, more and more of the pathways that lead her back to waking reality. More about Diane Selwyn. Diane Selwyn is an actress that has fallen on hard times, having had her prize film role stolen from her by her supposed ex-lover, Camilla Rhodes, who later in the film is revealed to have become engaged to the director of said film, sending Diane into a cold fury. So, Diane orders a hit on Camilla, with the hitman mentioning that a blue key will be a sign that the hit has been successful, that it will appear where she lives. And manifestations of her emotions begin to surface as Betty's story continues, with the box acting as almost a pathway back towards reality and waking. The box is portrayed in a similar role to Pandora's box. When the box is finally opened, the dream sequence dramatically shifts, showing us a version of the story that's closer to reality. Obviously, we're still in a dream, as the storytelling and editing continues to jump to and from various topics and story beats, but we see Diane, after waking up, balefully eyeing the key on her coffee table, and eventually being terrorized by the old couple who accompanied Betty at the beginning of the movie, and eventually climaxing as Diane commits suicide. The nonlinear editing employed throughout Mulholland Drive helps emphasize that the film takes place in a dream. It makes connections that, without the nonlinearity of the editing, no one would ever make. Primarily Diane's dreams, after having ordered a hit on her ex-lover. The beginning of the film is her remembering an initial acceptance into acting, then suddenly we're jarred with a car crash, and Rita, a mysterious woman, stumbling into Betty's life. Suddenly, with Rita appearing, we have more and more gradual, almost an understanding of what has actually been happening, what has been taking place, as opposed to what Betty or Diane wishes has been taking place. That Betty and Rita become inseparable, that Rita realizes that she needs Betty eventually. As Rita regains her memory, the box starts appearing and appearing and appearing, showing the pathway back to reality, and Rita gains more and more memory back. Betty becomes more and more unstable, even having a seizure at Club Silencio. Finally, the key and box are together, and the box has been opened, ending that level of Diane's dream. We return to Diane waking up, are introduced to the more real versions of the characters we met originally, still not likely to be true reality, but closer, more accurate, and are finally given context to the key, where we understand Diane's instability, and it all climaxes on Diane committing suicide. This usage of nonlinear storytelling that David Lynch employs, it leaves us with all the pieces to the puzzle that we need. But, at first glance, it doesn't give us a frame. It doesn't give us an idea of where any of these pieces are supposed to go. However, every single usage of jumping around seemingly at random gives us ways that previously we never would have used to connect any pieces together. We have the scene where the two men are talking at the diner, where the man comes outside, sees this figure who he has been dreading seeing for days, months, weeks, and eventually collapses of fright because of the figure jumping out at him. and he presumably collapses, dies. Eventually, at the end of the film, we see the figure holding the blue box, holding the pathway back to reality. This shows that there is a connection between the box and Diane's fears. Diane is intrinsically terrified of this box. She doesn't want to know what's in it. But if Lynch never even gave us that scene of just what seemed at the moment random scene of the two men and the guy falling unconscious from fear, we never would have known that Diane's fears were tied to that box, that Diane didn't want to encounter what was inside that box. It also shows us a sequence of waking up from various levels of the dreams. We have at what is presumably the lowest level of the dreams, the deepest level, we have Betty and Rita meeting and having these adventures almost nonsensically. At the next level, we have Diane understanding the more recent actions that she has taken. Things like ordering a hit. And there's even the scene where, at the beginning, Rita is held at gunpoint and told to get out of the car. We have a parallel about near the ending of the film where Betty, Diane, is now in a car in a very similar, visually similar situation where suddenly she's held at social gunpoint instead of a physical gunpoint. It shows us that the beginning of the film is a dreamlike interpretation of Diane's real life.